Hi, this is Sarah Vandermeer, and you are watching the Into the Flow podcast. So, Ethan, you are one of the big guys over at Haylo Window Cleaning, and we first saw you at the IWCA convention. Y'all were all decked out in your orange, everybody was matchy, and
Absolutely.
just kind of blown away by your setup because I've never seen so many young people in one organization and very evenly balanced between the genders. So tell me a little bit about your company, where you all are located, what you all do and offer, and how long you've been around.
Okay. Well, it all started with Brandi. Brandi's our CEO, our founder. She's our lead woman. So she founded the company back in 2010. She moved back to Georgia with her two kids. Her two kids, they're Hayden and Logan, which is where the name comes from. Haylo, Hayden, Logan.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So she moved back. She had done some high-rise window cleaning in Nashville, like hanging off the buildings and things, which I think I've never done personally. But she did it, and she absolutely fell in love with window cleaning. And so she moved home, and she said, "I'm going to start a window cleaning business." And so, I mean, we're 10 years in now. It was very small beginnings. I mean, we just had a couple loan offices, a chicken joint, down the street. But it grew steadily. My mom actually helped Brandi out at first, but then she needed a little more full-time work because it was still very small. And so I was a teenager in high school, and Brandi asked me, she said, "Hey, do you want to clean some windows?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure, okay, whatever." So I got my squeegee and I went out there and I'd follow Brandi around and I'd wipe up, the sills and but eventually, I honed in on my skills and we got more people to come in with us. As far as the young people aspect of the company goes, it's such a natural growing process because, I started cleaning windows. So I'd tell my friends like, "Oh, I'm doing this super cool thing. I'm cleaning windows down the street. I only work 3 days a week and I'm making this much." And they're like, "Oh, I'd love to join." And so, eventually my sister came on board. I have a good friend in Pennsylvania. He just joined on board. My sister knows more people than I do, honestly. So, she drug in a lot of the females in the group. So, I mean, it's fun. We try to stay together as we try to act like a family, very close knit. Of course, there has to be a separation of business and personal, but for the most part, we're just a big family. We're goofy, little, silly. We have inside jokes left and right. I mean, we try to have mutual respect, balance for everybody. If we assign somebody something and they're not comfortable with it, we'll tweak it. We'll assign it to somebody else. We're never going to force anybody to do anything they're not comfortable with, whether it's, lift work, whether it's route work, or if it's residential work. We're never going to force somebody to do anything.
So it seems like it's a pretty unique thing because, this is definitely a male-dominated industry. And, my husband and I, we own our business together. And when we first started out, I was definitely helping with, all the window cleaning and the office work. And I was up and down ladders. But I know at the same time, as we've expanded, we've had a primarily male-based employees. And I think that's because we've always been really concerned about how heavy ladders are for second story work and that sort of thing. How do you all address that?
How do we what? I'm sorry.
How do you address ladder work and things like that when you have both men? I mean, I'm sure there's women who are very capable of lifting heavy ladders, and I am to an extent. But for me, like there's, once I get to that, 28 footer, it starts getting too heavy for me. How do you all address that?
Well, I mean, we're really big on ergonomics. So I know we've recently implemented back braces and things like that. We love our little giant ladders. I don't know if that's a technical term for it or not, but they collapse. That you can use them as an A-frame or a vertical ladder. As far as addressing how heavy they are, I mean, we definitely tell people like, "Hey, we're going to be dealing with ladders. We're going to be dealing with water fed poles," which as we all know, they can get pretty heavy, especially when extended. But for the most part, I think we try to avoid ladder work the best we can. If we can work from the ground safely, then that's the route we're going to go on. So, I mean, we have our water fed poles reaching from 17 foot. I think we've even, at one point, we used a 65-foot water fed pole. You know, but of course, we're never going to send somebody out on a job or a route with an extremely heavy piece of equipment, unless we check and make sure that, you know, they're okay with it first, you know.
Right.
But so far, no one's really had any issues with weight. I mean, I think the heaviest thing that we deal with, probably our filtration systems. I'd imagine the ionizer machines we have, the water fed poles are probably the heaviest things we deal with. Because I mean, we do try to avoid ladders the best we can.
Right. And so I also noticed that on your website, y'all are listed as being, there's one area, this is Americus, Georgia, and then you're in a different area though. Are you all franchises or how does that work?
Okay, so the company started in Albany and Americus, kind of vice versa, I guess, because Brandi's born and raised in Americus. I was raised my life in Americus, but I live in Pennsylvania, so I work remotely, doing my jobs. I'm also the Northeast territory manager because we have, or not territory, but regional manager. So we have accounts all the way from New York City to California.
Oh wow, so you all are a nationwide company.
Correct. Yeah, we're not a franchise, and I don't know if that's the direction we're trying to go in. But we have techs all over. We have people out in California, like I said, that handle some things. The things in the East Coast, the coolest thing we have is the control tower at LaGuardia Airport. So
oh, wow, that's a big
we're proud to say we do. Yeah, it's fun. It's very fun. So yeah, I mean, you have me and we have a couple other people in the Northeast. We're saturated in the Southeast, so we have most of our techs down there. Florida, we have people in North Georgia, and if we have any special projects, like we just completed a project. There was a veterans hospital up in where was it? It was Wichita, Kansas. So we traveled out there. We got our little van, and we road tripped out to Kansas and, you know, did our little job and came back. And so, you know, I think we have the appearance of being this company. We're in every state. I mean, we are in 30 states. We've conducted business in 30 states.
Wow.
But we're not, you know, we're not this 1,000-employee company, you know.
How many employees are in your organization?
Let's see, at this point we have, I think, about 10 employees, and then we have a plethora of subcontractors that we hire out.
Gotcha. I was about to ask, because when you all came to the IWCA and we had this contest, Brandi kicked butt like no business. I was so impressed by her. Like everyone's jaws just dropped. But
we're all proud of her.
But even then, I think y'all had in the top 10 times, like y'all took 3 or 4 of them. I think it was a good number. It sounds like you have some subcontractors, but what do you do for your training to make sure that everything kind of stays quality wise? How are you getting to that proficiency?
So we always, you know, we're never going to hand somebody a bucket and a squeegee and say, all right, go do these 10 stores today. We are really big on training. Like if we have anybody new, you know, one of our administrators, we're going to go with them. And we're going to go with them on their first route. You know, we're going to show them how to do straight pulls with a pole. We're going to show them how to do the two-handed method, like in the contest. You know, we want to look cool while we're out there doing our job. So, you know, and honestly, I mean, every tech that we've had so far, I mean, they pick up on it like that. I mean, I haven't had anybody I've had to train where they're struggling with the squeegee. But yeah, of course, we take them with us. We train them, show them the different techniques, show them how to feather, or I think at the IWCA it was called the butterfly technique. I've always called it feathering. And make sure they feel comfortable with it, and so we slowly start backing away, letting them do every step by themselves, show them how to keep their rags clean, how to keep them dry, you know, how to wipe the windows. And once I can step away from the tech and watch them do a whole store by themselves, I know at that point they're ready to go out to the field by themselves, and they can stand alone.
And how long is that time for y'all usually from the point that you're hiring them and doing that first training where you feel like, okay, this person can handle a storefront by themselves?
Honestly, let's see. Bryson is one of our techs. Bryson, I took him on 2 routes before I set him loose. So I guess you could say that was a 2-month training. I mean, of course, it wasn't like every day we were out there cleaning windows, but I mean, and even when we go back to the house, I'd be like, hey, I'm gonna show you something with the washer. I'm gonna show you something with the squeegee. I'm gonna show you how to use the water bed pole, just around the house, that way you're not practicing on someone's glass. But yeah, I mean, 2 months. I mean, these guys get it. I mean, sometimes people can get it in a week. It's impressive. It's very impressive. We've been very lucky with our techs. They're very talented people.
So it sounds like, because you hear all these horror stories about people hiring techs and then they just don't ever get it, or they just mess up horribly, or they have a bad attitude, and it seems like y'all are doing really well with it. And I think it's not that you're just lucky. I think it's the way that y'all are choosing your techs to begin with, like that you all are looking for in people that seems to attract and weed out these really select people.
Right. We have a certain standard of people. We're clean. We're all non-smokers. We have good. I mean, of course, we emphasize proper hygiene. A person's car can say a lot about the person. A person's home can say a lot about the person. We like young people. Young people have the energy to go out and do these things. And not to say we don't have any older people. Brandy's not the oldest one we have. No, Brandy's not the oldest one we have. And we have had married couples do it. And the thing about married couples is that they find it hard to be away from home, especially if they go out on a route for a day,
right?
Especially on a route that might require overnight stay. So with that, it can be a little difficult to have people stay on. So we have had people come to us and say, "Hey, I don't think this is for me."
Right.
And we're not gonna. I'm like, "Hey, if it's not for you, then if you think you'll be happier somewhere else, we want you to be happy. We're not gonna make you miserable." But yeah, I mean, we try to find people that we know personally. Not to say that we know people personally from all over the United States. But yeah, I think if you know somebody on a personal level, then you know a little more about that person, and you know how they're going to react to maybe to a rude manager at a store, things like that. I guess so that answers your question.
Yeah. So it sounds like y'all are meeting these people in different places, looking at the service they give you. Like, that's one of the things that we try to do when we were hiring, is have business cards ready to go. It was actually something that we learned in one of the first conventions we went to. Brandon Vaughn gave a talk at one of the huge conventions, and he had this really awesome card that kind of just said, it might have been Curtis. I can't remember which one of them.
Yeah.
But they had this really awesome card that said, all the great things about your company, like why it was a great place to work. And he would just have them ready. And every time he went out to eat, every time he went to the grocery store, if he saw someone that looked like they were just, on top of service, they were just putting in that extra effort, sense of urgency, he would hand them one. And, more often than not, they'd end up calling. And I think a lot of people don't realize how much they can earn in a window cleaning capacity.
Correct. Yes.
Especially for something that doesn't require a college education.
And such low overhead as well. You're not spending money to make money. Hardly spending money to make money.
Right. Yeah. And even our employees, I feel like we pay them pretty well. And it sounds like that's a big incentive for how you're retaining people as well.
Correct. Because, like I mentioned, my friend in Pennsylvania, I told him I was, hey, I'm cleaning windows. And he was like, oh, you poor thing, And I was like, no, I'm making good money. And I told him the figures I was making. And he was like, what? That's more than I make. So for him, he was like, well, I want a piece of that, So, I mean, that definitely is an incentive. People learn how much you can make doing janitorial labor. I mean, the world looks down on that, but window cleaners can make bank. I mean, it's very impressive. It's very impressive.
That, and it really is a skilled trade and profession, and I think that's what a lot of people kind of glaze over, is
Correct.
the idea that you can't just go up to a window. It's not like you're going to Windex it or something. You can't just stick a squeegee in somebody's hand. It takes time to train that person, to get them to that proficiency point, to make sure they don't mess things up. There's all kinds of techniques and all kinds of things that you really have to understand. And I feel like as far as clients go, it's almost like you have to educate your clients too, because I think a lot of clients will look at it as, an addition to maid service, and it's its own thing. How do you get past those barriers when you're hiring people to get them past that mentality? And how do you get past that same mentality with clients when you're providing that pricing that's fair for you all?
Well, let's see. I'll start with the clients. We definitely have had clients, and I don't know if this is the angle you're going toward, but they're suspicious, or not suspicious, but they're skeptical of our techniques, especially when it comes to purified water cleaning.
Yes.
That's our biggest thing is, we'll be on a job site and we're, doing the water fed pole, which we all know works so beautifully. And they're thinking, what in the world? Like, you're leaving so much water on my windows, it's gonna spot. You have to squeegee it off. Please squeegee it off. It's gonna leave spots. And we're like, no. We're having to explain, like, this water has no minerals, it has no calcium, it has no magnesium carbonates. It's not gonna leave any water stains on your glass. And they're like, well, I don't believe that, And ultimately, I mean, you have to just let time show them. Like, well, just wait till the sun dries your glass, and you'll see that this is going to be a pristine piece of glass. And we've had the same skepticism with our techs. One guy we hired, I was showing him the purified water, and he's like, I don't think that's going to work. And I'm like, well, it's going to work. Just hold on. And like I said, you have to just show them that this is going to work. And if some people are more curious, we will break down the science of it to them, explain TDS, explain parts per solid, and what the chemicals you find in tap water versus chemicals you find in purified water, how the purification system works, how deionizing works. And a lot of that can go over their heads, and they're looking at you funny, especially managers of stores or our clients. But yeah, I mean, once they see it firsthand, I mean, everyone's impressed by it. And we were at a house one time, a long time ago. This was probably 5 years ago. We went to a house, and this woman, we explained to her, we said, we're going to use purified water on your windows. It's going to look like this, and it's going to look like this, and it's going to dry, et cetera. And she came outside, and she was in a panic. She goes, I don't want water spots on my windows. This is my sunroom. You're going to ruin my windows. And we had to calm her down. Like, it's okay. It's okay. And once she saw that it dried fine, she came outside and she apologized. She said, man, I've never seen my windows look this good before. I am so sorry that I freaked out on you guys.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it's always nice to have that client come back and they're like, you know what, you were right.
Yeah.
You know what you're doing, and that's always a really.
You're right.
So what is in the horizon for Haylo as a company? What's your all's ultimate goal? Is it just to keep expanding over the states? Are you just going to keep adding satellite offices, or is it just mainly more and more subcontractors?
We definitely want to expand as far as having our in-house techs. Definitely around the country. I mean, it's cool. It's cool to travel as much. I mean, I've seen, I think, almost 40 states because of Haylo. So yeah, we want to have our own people across. We want to have our orange shirts. I'm sorry, I'm not wearing my orange shirt today. I kind of forgot about that. I started out, I was like, oh no. Anyway, yeah, we want our orange everywhere. So on the horizon, we just kind of established our admin base, we've reestablished our admin base, where we want to focus on special projects. We have a sweet girl in California right now. She's our sales rep right now. She's looking at what do you call that? More like commercial contracts with stores like Ulta Beauty or grocery store chains.
Oh, nice.
Because we want to have these little pockets of stores all over the country, and then have these techs in these parts. we want Haylo to be national. And as far as finding techs around the country, that's going to be a challenge. I'm not going to lie, it's going to be a challenge. But I know we can do it because we've done it for this long. I mean, I know I have no hesitation, no worries, no doubt that we're able to find the people that we need to do to do the jobs we want to do.
So since you already have lots of subcontractors all over the place, how are you getting them to maintain the quality that Haylo is used to, and to make sure that your reputation stays stellar? Because I feel like for us, we've always been worried about using subcontractors because there's
Right.
this loss of control there. So how do you all do
We definitely check in on we check in on them frequently. I know that Brandi just did a few site visits out in California and met with each of the contractors, and I mean, everything looked great. But when we hand these guys their work orders, we explain like, hey, we want respect on the job site. Your superiors on the job site, treat them with respect. We don't want you smoking on site. Represent us well. And they've all been really good at that. I mean, I don't think we've had any trouble. I can't think of anybody that's given us trouble. I know I was just up in Chicago not too long ago, and we subcontracted the company out there. And I mean, these guys were awesome, and they're rock stars. I mean, I think it's All Window Cleaning is what their name is. So if they're watching that, I mean, guys, good job. That was awesome. So yeah, I mean, as far as quality goes, I can't say that we've had to tackle that with subcontractors, which maybe we're just lucky on that part. But yeah, I mean, I think as far as that goes, we check in with them. When these guys were out in Chicago, I called them each day. And they'd call me back, and we'd chat about this and that. And they'd send pictures, and I'd check in. And the same thing goes with our guys in California. I mean, we check in on almost like a daily basis with them, and we're nice. We're not going to lord over them like you better do the job right, or else. But it's just a friendly, hey, just checking in on you. How's it going? How's the job going?
But I'm sure you all have like a vetting process on who to decide to go with, because I'm sure there's lots of possible subcontractors in every area. And what is it that you're looking for when you're looking for a good subcontractor?
To be honest, we like people like Haylo, who are branded well, who carry themselves well. We like to see a good website. Logo is kind of a big thing. We like, because we feel like if you're going to put time and effort into branding yourself, to creating a nice logo for yourself, taking care of your website, marketing well, if you put that much effort into that, we feel like you're going to put that much effort into your job, because that's your reputation. Not saying that your mom and pop window cleaners aren't as good as the other guys with the fancy website, but that's something we look for, especially when we can't meet them face to face. So good branding's a big thing for us, especially because you've seen us. We love our branding. We love our orange shirts, our orange hats, things like that.
So I've got to say, I am super surprised to hear that Brandi has been doing this since 2010. She looks so young. Like when I saw her at IWCA, I was like, yeah, she's just one of the other young 20-something. And so when you said 2010, I was like, wow, she looks fantastic.
Brandi looks like that because she just doesn't sit still. That woman does not sit still. I mean, she's working every day, even on the days she has no window cleaning. She's out in her yard doing this and doing that, and she's over here at her dad's house, and she's working on his pool, and he's working on her cars. And I mean, this woman does not sit still.
Yeah,
which is a good thing.
That's huge. That's it. While raising your kids and everything else. Like,
oh yeah.
My husband as my business partner, and we have 3 children, and I feel like my hands are already very full, and I can't imagine running a company that is in multiple states and still managing to make it look easy.
It's incredible. She's a woman of balance. I mean, she and I love her kids. Her kids are so awesome. They're so much fun to be around. I was actually at their house today in the pool with them. I mean, they're so much fun. They love Haylo. I mean, they're all about it. They love it, that's their name. both of them want to work for Haylo when they grow up. I mean, they love that their mom is built this company. And I don't see, because a lot of times I think with people who run a business, especially parents, especially a single parent running a business, you might see that their kids are getting a little neglect. I mean, that's not the case. That's not the case with Brandy's boys. I mean, those boys, they're with their mama every day. I mean, unless she's working. But, you know, they love it. They absolutely love Haylo.
So how did she end up starting a window cleaning business? Like, how did that start off for her?
So, like I said, she lived in Nashville, Tennessee for a little while, and I don't know exactly how they got started, but I know that she worked with a window cleaning company doing the high rise in the downtown buildings in Nashville. First time ever, she was up on a chair swing, you know, and she said she loved it. She said that was the most fun job she's ever had. And so, like I said, when she moved back to Georgia, she initially wanted to have a transcription company. So it was going to be Haylo Transcription something. She has the original logo for that on her files. It looks exactly like Haylo's logo, just says transcription. But she decided, she goes, I have too much ADHD for that. I can't sit in my house and do transcription. So she's like, I really love cleaning windows. She's like, so that's what I want to do. I want to go clean windows. And so she changed it over to Haylo Window Cleaning, and she picked out orange as her color, and she went to town. I mean, she hit the pavement hard. I mean, she was down there in Albany. She'd be up in Americus, getting clients. I mean, it just, and I think it spread by word of mouth, especially with the residential clients. You know, you go to clean this lady's house, and then she's saying, oh, I have my friend down the street. She needs her windows cleaned too. And so you walk down there and you do her windows. And the same thing with the commercial clients. Like, oh, you should go check on Title Max or Instalone down the street. I'm sure, I think they're looking for a window cleaner. And so she had a lot of clients down there in Albany, and that's when I came in, was mostly in Albany. I'd go down there and do, like I said, a bunch of loan offices. And then we got the grocery stores. We did a bunch of Winn-Dixies and Harveys down south to southeast. It's been such a natural progression. It's insane because we really don't put a lot of money into marketing. It's been just this natural, organic growth, just super cool.
Yeah, that's one of the things for our company as well. We've been around a lot less. Well, I think. Yeah, we've been a lot around, probably a good 5 years shorter than you all have. My husband and I have owned our business around 5 years now. But he grew up window cleaning. He's a second generation window cleaner. But one of the things that surprised us was just how going into a client's home and it being just like earnest with them, and they love that we were like this husband and wife team. And now we have employees and all that stuff. But they really latched onto that, and when you develop that relationship with your client, they become your cheerleader. They want to see you succeed. And I imagine that, I can only imagine that Brandi is this very enigmatic personality, and that everybody loves her.
Absolutely, yeah. She's so funny. She's witty and sarcastic and has this dry sense of humor, but we all love her. And it's really infectious. As far as the clients go, I mean, she's so introverted, but she's also so extroverted, because every client we have becomes her new best friend. You know, it's cool.
So I'm enjoying talking to you, but out of curiosity, is there any reason why she decided to not join in or anything?
Because she's so introverted, like I said. She sent us a text, and she's to all the admins, and she goes, they want to interview me. She says, y'all know I don't like to be on camera. So she's like, who wants to volunteer? So I got sucked into it. I was like, oh, that's fine, whatever.
Well, you know, one of the things I've noticed, because I feel like all good business owners definitely have that ADHD quality about them. You know, they're just nonstop all the time. But then there comes a point where you need to pull in other people to pair with those things that you're just not the best at. And my husband's the ADHD one. He's like the big idea guy. He's like, let's go, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And I'm like the come back down to earth person. Let's do this in a linear fashion. What are the logistics? How can we make this happen? What are you for your company?
I'm you. Brandy's so funny. She'll and I'm not faulting her for this, but she's so funny. She'll send a text and she's like, "Hey, there's this job that they want us to do out in Oregon." And I'm like, "Oh, that's cool." She sends me this picture of this giant building in downtown Portland. And I'm like, no, please, don't make me. No. So yeah, I mean, I think Brandy's very much, big idea, big picture, future. I mean, she's got so much going on in her head all the time. I think for me, I'm definitely more of the, that's super cool, but like, how can we do that smart? So I mean, especially when Haylo was a lot smaller, me and Brandi were a really good team. I mean, she was big idea, and I was more down to earth. So now that we have more people in the admin team, like her brother Philip is actually one of the administrators as well, and he's kind of the same way. He's like, okay, let's approach this reasonably, and I think through that relationship, I've definitely been influenced by Brandi, because for me personally, when I first started with Haylo, if it was above 2 stories, I was like, But Brandi was the one who had to tell me, like, okay, it's not as scary as it looks. You just calm down. I'll show you how we're gonna tackle this. So she definitely has that ability in her, but it comes off. She's very like, just go. So she's taught me how to look at things a little more open-mindedly, and I think I help her kind of look at things a little the opposite.
Do you all think that because of those differing views, occasionally you all butt heads sometimes? 'Cause I know, like, for me and my husband, a lot of times he'll be like, let's do this and this and this. And I'm like, how do I burst his bubble? Alex seems like this mean person.
I don't know. I mean, we have so much mutual respect because Brandy's like my older sister. I mean, we're so close. So we've never really gotten into an argument. I was actually thinking about that the other day. I was like, I don't think me and Brandy have ever fought. Especially not about business stuff. Because especially before, I always respected, this is your business. I work with you, but it's your baby. If this is the direction you want to go in, that's you. And I'll support it. If she makes a decision, I'm not just gonna dig my feet in the ground and say no. I mean, I'm always gonna support whatever she wants to do. But no, honestly, I don't think we've ever had any fights. Not me and her. I don't think her and her brother have ever gotten. Of course, they're siblings, so maybe every now and then. But
so if you're in a situation where there's something you're like, wow, this logistically does not make sense, and you're like, Brandi, I don't know that this can happen. Then you're right, or does something else happen there?
I think at first she's like, hush, child. We'll figure it out. But I mean, ultimately, if we both look at it reasonably, and I think Brandi is honest enough with herself, where she's like, okay, you know what? Honestly, I think you're right. We won't bid on this project. Or sometimes she'll look at something and she's like, I know this will work. I know this is going to work. And it works. I actually just got back from Dallas. We did a job out there, and
that's
the
where
architecture.
We're located.
Sorry?
I said that's where we're located, in Dallas.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know Victory Park?
Yes.
So, the 2 buildings right in front of the American Airlines Center?
Yes.
We just did those.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I don't know if you remember it off the top of your head, but like it's such a weird architecture. So when I saw it, I was like, oh God, how in the world are we gonna get these things clean? Because there's no way you can actually access the glass. But she was like, well, let's put our heads together and figure something out, and we did, and they look awesome.
That is awesome. Well, next time y'all are in Dallas, you're gonna have to give us a little heads up, and we'll take y'all out to lunch. You see my
I wish I would have known. I know. I wish I would have known. I just got home from Dallas. What's today? Today is Friday, or it's Saturday. I got back from Dallas on Sunday. No. Oh my word, this quarantine's got my days mixed up. Anyway, we just got back from
quarantine,
Dallas.
how are y'all dealing with quarantine? Because I know a lot of the people in the Into the Flow group have had a lot of their big commercials canceled on them. A lot of them were
Yeah.
hotels, things like that. How have y'all dealt with that?
Goodness, I think this Dallas job actually was supposed to be done back in February, and then some logistics things got misconstrued with the company we were communicating with. So we got postponed. We were going to do it in March, and then coronavirus. So we had to put that back. We do a lot of window cleaning for Ulta Beauty. April was going to be one of the big months. We were going to do a lot of stores, and they got closed. So that hurts. It hurts revenue wise. But I mean, as far as our everyday work, I mean, Georgia is a little more. I don't want to say lax about the quarantine, but
well, they were
they
definitely
didn't
one
close.
of the first to reopen.
Correct. Yeah. So it didn't really hurt as far as revenue goes in Georgia. Now, where I'm at in Pennsylvania, it's still very much quarantine and sectioned off. Things are. I mean, everything's closed still. So as far as tackling that, it sucks, especially for the techs out there, because that's their money.
Yeah.
But I think we just kind of have the attitude of just, hold on, the lights up there. There's light at the end of the tunnel. We're gonna make it through. Techs that lost out on route work, we invited them on special projects. Like, hey, we'll pay you hourly to come on this project with us, and we'll go clean this big building. Because things like a lot of government buildings right now, because they're under quarantine, they're contacting us and saying, hey, this is a great time to have our windows cleaned because no one's in the building. If you guys want to come clean our windows, and so we're like, yeah, sure. So we'll invite the techs on those jobs. We'll be like, hey, this will be at least a little bit of income for you guys until this is over.
That was a surprise to us too. There's some churches that we do, and we thought, because it was right around like Easter time too. They always have some right before Easter. And
yeah.
I was thinking, yeah, there's no way they're going to have us out this year because no one can come to Easter this year. And no, they called us and they're like, yeah, this is the perfect time to do it. And so we're like,
yep.
Okay, that works great. So I know we're taking a bunch of extra precautions for healthy. Y'all have a much younger group of techs than we do. The average age of our techs is roughly around 40 years old, which seems pretty old for a window cleaner, but they're all very fit guys and stuff.
Yeah.
They are older. So we just got some more. We've had face masks and sanitizer and things like that for them, and we switched to exterior only for a while. In a few weeks, our face shields are going to come in, and we're going to be giving those going on the inside a small pay bump for hazard pay, along with face shields. What are you all doing to keep your tech safe right now?
Definitely requiring face masks for everyone, regardless of the state, regulations. We are issuing out gloves if the techs want them. That's not. I mean, you're touching things with your hands or gloves, it's still going to spread. We are offering a sanitation cleaning where we go through and we clean the windows once. Once with a washer squeegee, and then you go back with like an alcohol solution, and then to actually disinfect the windows. Because we were taking, me and Brandi were doing we did a GBAC certification course, how to deal with coronavirus.
Right.
And saying that coronavirus can actually live on glass for up to 9 days, which is scary. So definitely we're trying to make sure we're disinfecting the windows. As far as our techs, like I said, face masks, we're trying to limit their exposure to the public. So whereas you might have gone on a route one day with 12 stores, maybe, hey, let's just kick it back and let's just do only 6 stores. So you're limiting your exposure to the public. We're making sure that when they're on their route, they're not out shopping,
right.
Keeping things only necessary things while you're out there,
Yeah. So it sounds like y'all are actually just travel around a lot with your main core of window cleaners, and then you have your salary people. So how much of your time do you spend traveling for projects?
It fluctuates, honestly. Because, 'cause we'll go through a season where we have tons of projects, and I'm in this state, and this state, and this state, and this state. We're trying not to do that as much now because of the quarantine. But I mean, work has to go on. But for me personally, I think the most I've ever had to travel for work is maybe 3 days a week. I may have had a stray week here and there where I was out more than that or less than that, but I think it's on average I think about 3. But now that I'm pulling back more out of the field to do more administrative work, I won't be having to travel as much.
How do you all handle that insurance-wise? Like, I know our insurance is specific to our state, and I imagine every state
Right.
that you go to, there's whole different requirements.
There are, I know we do have $1 million liability policy. But as far as across states, Brandy's your girl to talk about that with. I don't have to deal with that myself personally. So Brandy's more involved in that aspect. She's more of our back end admin person. She's trying to get out of the field too. So she's keeping us safe as far as insurance goes.
That's awesome. I know for us, we had a heck of a time getting workers' comp here because it's not a requirement in Texas, and so they're not as likely to like give it out to window cleaners here. But then in California, it is like an absolute must.
Okay, gotcha.
So it sounds like Haylo is just growing and expanding in leaps and bounds. And I know you all are saying kind of like wanting to expand your current pool of people and slowly expand in other states. Are you all addressing that by region, or is it just as many states as you can hit?
We're definitely trying to do it in an organized fashion. We're not trying to just sporadically have people here and there. Like I said, we kind of grew in the southeast. The reason why we have a northeast region is because I moved up there, and we also had some accounts up there in the Baltimore area that we had some people asking us to do. And so me being up there, we're like, okay, yeah. So we're trying to build in little pockets. So we have like as we're growing in the northeast, we're huge in the southeast. California, we're trying to grow. So instead of having little dots everywhere, we're trying to just kind of connect our dots, kind of keep it in little clouds here and there. And so once we get big enough, maybe those clouds all merge together,
So does Brandi have a company philosophy? Is there like a book that is like her window cleaning Bible? I know a lot of people read E-Myth or Profit First. They read all these business books. Is there something that, or just an ideology that she has for y'all where she's like, this is it?
It was the funniest thing. Because you said that in your email, and I went to Brandi and I was like, Brandi, I said, she's asking about these books. I said, what books do you read? And it's funny. She told me, she goes, if I read books, I'd be like everybody else. And she said, but then of course she clarified. She said, I'm not trying to be ignorant or smart butt about it. But she said she took what she knew from Nashville. She implemented that in her business as far as technique goes. I know that for her father runs a business as well. It's not a service company I guess it could be considered a service company, but it's not window cleaning. But I know that she learned a lot from him, and a lot of the business decisions that she makes it just seems like common sense, I guess. And she definitely has that business mind. So she tries to just take what she knows, tweak it to make it her own, and then build on it, and then go use it in the field.
I'm sure there are some Brandyisms though that like everyone knows. What are
my word,
those?
yeah.
Like I always say, do it right, do it once.
Yeah. Brandy's really big about work harder, not smarter. Don't freak out over the little stuff. We're always telling our techs to stay strong, stay safe. The funniest thing, and Brandy's gonna absolutely murder me for telling you this over the public interview, but there was a meme that we found, and we were both dying over it. And it's in the meme, there's this this woman, and she's photoshopped to have like these really muscular arms, you know. And it's the caption was like something about her boyfriend that says "Stay strong." And so I went home and I photoshopped it and put a Haylo shirt on this girl. And so Brandi has some biceps, you know. And so we call Brandi our strong girl. And so anytime you run into like a little hiccup or something, you're out in the field and you run into a manager who's being not so nice or whatever, or the weather's bad or something, and she'll send a GIF or she'll send a meme and say, just stay strong, girl.
Brandi strong. You should get bracelet.
Brandi strong, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, but she's really big about working hard and not smart. I think that's her main thing. Because I'll look at something and I'm like, oh my Lord, this is gonna take forever to figure out. And she's like, be smart, man. And
there's a will, there's a way.
Exactly, yeah. And as far as not freaking out over the little stuff, I've been on her on routes or on jobs, and I might, we all know some of the water fed poles have the clasps that aren't too great, and they're not good quality, and they might snap off or something, or your squeegee rubber gets a tear in it, or I don't know. You strip the Phillips head screw on your squeegee when you're replacing the rubber, whatever, and it's usually me doing those stupid things. And I'm like, oh, I ruined their entire day and we can't finish the job. And she's like, no, it's fine. I said, she's like, no, we'll figure it out. All I have to do is do this, and take this part and screw this on and twist this around and voila, it's fixed. And I'm like, wow, that's awesome. I don't know why I was freaking out the whole time.
That is awesome. It seems like just always finds a solution to pretty much everything. So there's nothing to really stand in the way. And it seems like she's a super, super calm person, like steady and calm.
Mm-hmm. I have never heard Brandi raise her voice, not once. She is the calmest person I think I've ever met. I've never seen her freak out. She's just as cool, collected, just a cool and collected person. Yeah, she does not freak out about stuff. I've never seen her like hit a wall or hit a problem that she can't solve. She's always like, okay, well, we're just gonna do this, and it works. It's awesome.
That is really cool. So I know that this used to happen to me when I was on site with my techs, and like my husband was working on a different site with other techs. And I'm sure it's probably happened with you and Brandi before. But you'll have a homeowner or the business owner go to talk to one of y'all, and they automatically assume that she's not the business owner.
Almost every single day that happens, and she's so funny. She doesn't let it get under. Well, I know that it gets under her skin, but she's hiding it. And it's so funny because like when I first started, I was like 18 or 17 or something, and I was just a kid. And they would still talk to me like I'm the owner, and I'm like, dude, no, it's her. It's her business. Just the other day, it was her and her brother. They went into a hardware store to grab a part, and they're both wearing the company shirts. And her brother's much taller than she is, and he's a guy. And the clerk goes, all right, what you need, boss man? And just just being nice. And her brother was like, that's boss man right there. Yeah, everyone is kind of looks at Brandi like, you're the owner. And I feel bad for her, but that's just the world we live in, honestly.
Yeah, I definitely hear that. We used to have one of our employees was this like 6'3" tall guy, and he actually used to be a lawyer, and decided he didn't want to be a lawyer anymore. He ended up working for us, and every time we went anywhere, it automatically went to him instead of talking to me. And his favorite thing was to be like, no, she's the boss.
It's cool to say because they're like. It happens all the time. I feel bad because Brandi is. I think because you met her in person, right?
Yeah. Well, I saw her handiwork during the speed show, and
okay, yeah, because Brandi's not the tallest person in the world.
No.
And she always Every time that I say that to her, she's like, "Well, I only hired you because of your long arms." I'm like, "Whatever." I'm almost 6'1", so.
I am jealous of people who are taller than me. I mean, she's not that short. I'm 5'7", but
Okay.
having that last, 4 or 5 inches and not having to get out that step stool, super jealous.
Uh-huh. We pick on each other all the time. She is, I'm telling you. We had the best time. We'll be on a job site, and she's stretching so hard to get that squeegee up there, and I'm like, give me that squeegee. I'll go up there and I'll do it real quick. And she's always like, I hate you so much.
She gets out a lawn chair and drinks some lemonade and says, go ahead.
Good Lord, I know. She says she wants that, but I'm like, no, you can't sit still long enough.
Well, thanks so much for talking to us today. And I really loved hearing about Brandi and about Haylo. And we hope to see you all at future conventions. Are you all going to be at the next IWCA?
We are super excited about Las Vegas.
I know. Las Vegas!
I know. I cannot wait to go back. I'm so excited.
Well, awesome. Thanks so much. And y'all have a great day. Thank you for taking the time today, Ethan. And tell Brandi we say thank you for lending you to us for this last hour.
Of course. Yeah. Thank you so much, Sarah. I appreciate it.
Have a good one.
How you too.